Good morning, and this is your crypto day morning. Today's date, Sunday, the 2nd of December, 2018. All bets, trades, and of the like within one's own risk and their own reward. The compilation of today's video will start off with Bitcoin, and there's not much changing. Then we'll take a look at Theta Bitcoin for the third consecutive day, and it's continuing its down retracement from that spectacular move a couple days ago. Komodo is rallying today. We'll move into that. Then I'm going to talk about my trade strategy on Komodo as I'm now using the X value system. And within such, whenever I use the X value, it makes it fun to be able to have further day trading within it. So I'm going to talk about that. Computer programming, flowcharts. So I'm going to do a couple in this video via this internet way. And a flowchart is just to make it easy for you to set up so you can program it. That's what I'm doing. And then this way you can understand what I'm trying to do and how I'm programming, especially for those who are into computer programming or mathematics even. And then within it, I'm going to do two of them. One based on random events, and two based on real past events. And the reason for seeing this is get to the conclusion. What's more profitable? Trading for small percentage moves and getting a whole whack of trades? Or waiting for the markets to have like decent or amazing moves, meaning, okay, I'm going to buy something at 10,000 Satoshi and I ain't going to trade it until it goes up to like 15, 16, 17,000, and I ain't buying more until it breaks below 7 or something like that. And then see how that works. So I'll get into that. So let's get into the video. Start within that of Bitcoin. Daily term time frame. Price action continuing. Again, to stay within this 18 average. It's now at the stage over today, tomorrow, if the price action can hold and stay above 4,000. Then the 18 average of lows is going to start to flatten out. And if price action can stay in this for maybe a week or so, the 18 average of highs would flatten out. If the price action get up to 44 for a couple of days, the 18 average of highs would flatten out. And any move breaking out above it, 45, 46, 47, is making a statement that it's ready to attempt that of a reversal of trend. Within the shorter term time frame, the 3-hour has having right now major resistance in the range of about 42.60 up to about 43.83, 4,400 almost. Since this move has came into play, you can see here that, oh, it didn't go in the 18 average, it broke below it, but it found support here. It did get above it and is consolidating. Well, that's the 3-hour time frame. And what it did do is make a higher low from the break from the 35.50 yearly lows. And thus, if you do a longer term time frame at the 400 minute, and I have lost my access. This is the first time my pro access just I'm just going to read this. You requested a custom interval that is available only to pro users. Yeah. Okay, so this is the only thing I'm losing out on right now. The feature, okay. What happened was I bought this like a year ago, and this is when, I mean, the prices have just increased so much for me to increase my membership. So I'm not sure if I will or not, because it seems as if all I'm losing out now is on the 400-minute time frame, because everything else that I was using is working pretty good. But they did notify me that they canceled my subscription like a day ago, but I noticed nothing really other than just this has changed for such. So we will do this on the 4-hour time frame maybe. But yeah, so therefore I'm probably not going to do it. But the reason why the prices are so expensive, because last year at this time the prices were like 4 or 5 times cheaper, because one, Bitcoin was like 12,000 or so at this time, or 10,000. Now it's like 4,000. And I got a good deal on the day. It was like a Thanksgiving special kind of deal. So therefore, yeah, I'm just going to keep it at that. Now this is a longer video. I didn't expect that to happen. So yeah, within Bitcoin, that's really where it goes. I'm fully expecting to have a high probability chance of that of 3,000 rather than that of 3,500 being that of a bottom. I wouldn't be surprised if it rallies up into some decent areas if it breaks this resistance on any short-term moves. And for me, I don't care either way because I got a hedge bet, meaning when TUSD or when Bitcoin goes to 3,000, I'm going to sell TUSD for Bitcoin and then do what I need to do with it there after that. But if it doesn't, then I'm just going to have to keep those US dollars, and as Bitcoin keeps rising, just add to it as that of a hedge. Okay, so that's the first one. Now let's move on to Theta. And what I've done with my time frame is I've eliminated the 400 minute up top. I've also eliminated the 3 hour. I changed the 3 hour with the 4 hour. So that and then I got the 1 minute term. I maybe should get the 3. I look at time frames like poker blinds. Or poker chips, rather. Poker chips. Because in a poker game, you'll have the white 1. Well, I don't care about, I'm not going to name the colors, like the red 5 and all that. And then you have the 25, you have the 100, you have the 500. And you just go like decent size increments higher. So 1 minute time frame. Maybe I should do this with the 5 as well. So 1 minute of time frame, 5 minute, 15 hour, 4 hour daily, 3 day, weekly, monthly. So this is 5 times larger, 3 times larger, 4 times, 4 times, 6 times, 3 times. The weekly is only 2 1/3 times, and the monthly is about 4.1 times higher. Okay. So therefore, this move on Theta, price action was at the 1260 level. It rallied up to 36, now down to 17, so it has lost more than half of its value within the 4 hour time frame, breaking down below the 18. But within the daily time frame, it's just starting to rally or go down to the 18 lows, 18 or highs rather, 18 lows, just starting to rally. Big level of resistance in at this level here. So I can still put my horizontal raise in with a normal package. So, and I did a lot of back in time scrolling yesterday, and it worked fine for me. So that was still working well. I don't really use alerts on here anymore, so I don't think I need the pro package. But anyway, we see that it's coming back to the upper end of where it came from. So this is like the must hold general area for this kind of move. When we browse in on the single hour time frame, there was a decent opportunity in here, but now you got this point A low, this point B high. You got a correction in the middle, well, not within, decently above the low, decently below the high, and it's got to make a move at some point. It's either going to stop this correctionary move, and we can see where the line area in here is where it would need to do such, and at some point get out above it. And when these markets are just ready to go, they go. And that's basically it for the Theta. I got a lot more to cover as shown, and didn't expect to be at the 8 minute mark after segment 2, but let's move on to segment 3. That's Komodo. And I first want to show these two in here. The Binance price is currently in at 1842, and the Bittrex price is currently at 1780. I haven't been on Bittrex for a while, but I do know Komodo on Cryptopia and on Binance, the wallets are down, and they have been remaining down for over a week as they are doing a wallet upgrade. Obviously, the market is fine with it with this rally. But what was going on several days ago was the price on Bittrex was so much higher that if you were arbitraging it, and the unfortunate fun of the wallets going down would have meant that you would have sold every single bit of Komodo on Bittrex and bought it back on Binance, and for that point on you would have had no choice but to remain having none on Bittrex. Well, if that was the case, if you have none on there now, why not sell on Binance at 1820-ish area and then buy it around 1780 on Bittrex? And then, oh, it just works out because you can't transfer funds, but at least you can get another flip of another trade. So do I regret playing Bittrex? A little bit, at least just for this reason, because, I mean, I don't really care too much about orders for this type of day trading. So I'll probably even consider moving it forward. But anyway, as far as that's concerned, let's take a look at the chart as the single hour time frame having a great significant move as this level of resistance was taken out, and there's another line up here as well, but regardless of the fact, it just kept going this morning at 2 o'clock in the morning ever since that play. Since then, the market has consolidated moving in this sideways moving consolidation area. And we look at this on a 15-minute time frame. It's showing a lot of weakness in here. A lot of weakness. And that is because we have, and when I say a lot of weakness, we're talking short term. I'm looking at the 15-minute time frame. So don't think any of this for long-term stuff at all, especially because I'll go long-term after this as well. But you have the rally consolidating, establishing big resistance at near its top at about 19 and a quarter, 19 and a third. Establishing huge support at around 1839, 1840. But what has it done since around 7:45 a.m.? It has been showing a lot of weakness within the 18 average of lows and closes. And here we see that, you don't see the closes, but the middle between the lows and the highs is where it was resisting from 7:45 a.m. till it broke down at 8:45. Currently it's 9:26. And it looks as if, to me, let's do 5-minute, that within such, I wouldn't be surprised if it has a decent leg lower. Now, originally, I had a buy order at 1800. But when I look at that further, I got previous resistance at 1769. I also got a downside Fibonacci. Do I still have that up? I do. I calculated 1820, 1873. So that's the 1820 low down here, the 1873 high there. That if it breaks down that, it's got a down objective to 1788. Which would be into this congestion area. And it would probably pierce extra. 1769 would probably where it would go. So therefore, I remove my 1800 bid, and I'm placing it lower. Now what I'm doing is changing my strategy so it's always worth the same amount. It doesn't matter if it goes up or down. If it goes down, I'm going to buy it so that it is worth such. And my new orders are the following. Starting off within the sells, or the buys rather, excuse me, the buys. So I moved my order to 1782. Now I thought about going into the 60, 70 area, which I think is good chance. It's just this is a safer, more conservative bet, especially because I was happy on my mathematical level of buying back my last sell order at 18. So I'm getting 18, even 20 basis points because I had like 1802. So I'm getting 20 extra basis points on it. And it's a short-term move. And then if it breaks below that, I think 1650 would be about the approximate area that it would go. And that would be a differential of about 130 points or about 7-8%. Breaking below that, I think 1400 is where it would go. Differential there is about 250 points or about 15%. And then in case something wacky happens, I got this. And it's a low volume market. There's only like 30, 40 Bitcoin, 50 Bitcoin traded per day, which is very low. So therefore, those are the ones that are more likely to hit one of these types of insane orders in here. And every single time that, at least the three orders, the 1762, 1652, and 1402, at least within those orders, I have it set so that it's always going to be worth the base amount. When the price reaches 1782, how many Komodos do I need at that point? I take that, subtract what I own, that's what I buy. And same thing below on here. And I just have a decent number here, just in case, because I would expect that it would be one of those types of days that look like this if it happens. And I would just love that fact. For sell orders, I'm going to start down here, 1996, and that is where the next play is, then 22, which is a differential there of 10%, and then 27, which is a differential of 500 points or about 20+%, and then again at about a move that would be really phenomenal, and then the maximum that I can get, I'll sell everything here. And that's for the opposite of this kind of move that would take place. And in such, the way I look at it is, if it's going to have a fast move, I might as well have the orders ready to go, because as you've seen with Theta, if you're going to have a move like that, then that is just magnificent. And within Theta in here, I've just been adding sell orders in because I've been buying back. So these are in here. If it goes up, I'll be ready to sell. And that one, I'm still continuing with Theta to try to make as many as I can. So if I say we're to sell whatever I sell here, I'm going to look to try to buy back maybe at like 1700 or depending on, probably around 1700. And then if I sell like 50 here, I would get it back about 55 on the buy order. And then that would, and I might even probably go like 16, 70, so I can get like maybe 57, 58 per 50. And then just see how many theta I can accumulate just for fun. And, well, for profit too. Now, as far as day trading is concerned, whenever I own, like, say, an X amount of something, if I see something very strong, like a rally, or, well, definitely a short steps for sure. But even a rally, I'll explain that. We can do that as well. But if you think, say, your market's going to go down, and you want to play aggressively here, an example might be, okay, I'm going to sell everything that I have, buy it back at a certain objective, and then I'll get a profit. So what will happen is I would sell everything, say that of, we'll say you sell 1,000 of a particular coin, and then it goes back down to a certain level, and then you buy like 15 or whatever back, 1,100 back, and you got your profit. And then of course, if you're wrong, then you have to buy it back at a loss. So that's something that I'm considering doing. But there's nothing here for me to say, I'm just going to sell on my Komodo. And then you can always just have, at any given time, this you can do this with any market really, if you just do see something, and I should do more of this, because I mentioned with Komodo before, on one of the time frames it was looking like it was going to soar. But I just spots where I just say, okay, this is going to go up, just bet whatever on it, and then just play like I started learning in the first place. And that is, oh, I think it's going to go up at 1,800. Okay, I'll get out of it if it goes down here like a stop, and if it rallies up here, I'm going to have this strategy for profit taking, and so on and so forth. But I'm probably not going to do too much of that. Okay, so that is the Komodo. I want to take a look at this on the daily term time frame as well. Move those lines. We don't need them anymore. So decent sized breakout, gotta hold this 18 average area now. So 18 average, 1640 area. The 18 average of lows should be rising well past 15. So it's basically gotta hold about 15.5 up to about 1675 area. If it retraces back there, so be it. That's fine. If it does go down to 14, I mean, it can still bottom there, and that's fine. But that's what I would be doing as a trader. I got a buy order for 1400. I mean, I could put one in now for like 1,000 or something, because if it breaks below 14, that's probably where it's going to go. But I'll just have my orders ready in place for those particular situations. I do like how on this, you have this breakout on here, on finishing November 29th, and having 2 days within such how it plays the 18 average. So it's held that rally really magnificently. As we can see in here on November 28th, that within the 4-hour time frame comes back magnificently within the 18 average of highs, breaks this resistance, and just phenomenal. Phenomenal. And yeah, we'll see how this continues on. I'm now at the 18-minute mark, and I got more to go. So I know a lot of people have already left. Some people are going to leave now. So those who leave now, thank you for tuning in. Let's now talk about computer programming. And let's first look at this program that I wrote up in about a half hour this morning. And it starts off with text window.clear. And what this does is the window that I'm going to use, it just makes sure it's a blank screen. And then text window.write, enter Satoshi level, so that will appear on the screen. And it will give you, I'll have to put numbers or put something in. It's going to read what I put in. It's going to be the number. So I'm going to enter a Satoshi of a certain price. Then it's going to divide that number by 100 million. That's what this line does. And then it's going to buy what it would need to buy, 1 Bitcoin worth. So it's open buy equals 1 divided by the price. Multiply 0.999 because of rake. Current equals open sat. What does that mean? Well, it just means what the current price is. And I'm going to be using that. This here, see, own 4, own 10, own 20, own 40 equals -1. The whole purpose of me doing this is I want to see what happens if every time a market moves up 4%, I want to sell. And just keep on doing that. And how about just 10%, 20%, 40%? Because I want to get to the bottom of what's better, trading short term or long term. And there's going to be 2 ways I'm going to do this. One this way and one with the other program. This is with random numbers. So for this one is equal 1 to 25. I'm going to do 25 sets of what I'm doing here. Current equals open set. That means what the current price is. Here, for plays is equal to 1 to 100,000. This is a large sample size. It's going to do 100,000 random events, and it's going to make the market go up or down a bit, which is right here. Output equals math.get random number of 701. And then current equals current multiply data with a number, with this random number of output. And what's data? We'll get into that. It's all of these numbers. So I have 701 numbers that I calculated via that of a spreadsheet. So let's get the spreadsheet up. And I believe it's this one. So what I did is I put the numbers in here. So column A is data like this. This is 1, and then I just do equals this number plus 1. And then equals, or the left thing equals, and then the number. So I just copied and pasted this all the way down. Now what this number here does is it determines what the net value would be. And I'm just going to scroll this like this. So down at the bottom, it works out that the market should break even over the long term. I just did a whole bunch of numbers, some bigger ones, some mostly small numbers like 0.2, 0.3, 0.5% moves here and there. And then just see within the randomization how well it's going to work. So then, let's run this program. It's going to do 100,000 events, and it's going to tell me at the end text window dot write line current. So it's going to tell me what the final price was after 100,000 events. And this is too much of a sample size. This is not going to work, but it will at a different sample. So enter Satoshi level. Now when I'm entering, I do this so many, I'll take a number and I'll divide it by 100 million. So I'm used to writing 100, 3 more zeros, and then 3 more zeros. That's 1 Bitcoin in Satoshi. So now I'm going to do this. It's going to go through so many different samples of the moves, and they're going to go way high and way low. This is extreme. So they're randomizing it all out. So 1 goes to 34, 1 goes to 0.01, then this goes up to 145, 0.12. This one got crushed at the 6227. And you can see how big, 2,200 here, 70,000 here, 48,000. Some wild, wild numbers. Now, if you're playing markets like this, you'd get destroyed if this market here happened. But I do find that interesting. But if I take 2 zeros off this, instead of doing 100,000 events, I'm going to do 1,000 of them, then I think I can work within this. And let's put in 100,000 again. And we see 268, 113. We have all these numbers of decent moves up and down. These are what the closing price is. And I could put a level in and see what the high and lows were too. But what I want to do within a spreadsheet like this is I randomize the numbers. And then after every single day within this, so for plays equals 1 to 1,000, what's going to happen after every single time, it's going to have to ask, okay, if I have the own for section, if my last trade happened to be, say, whatever number, 50,000 or 500, will be make it for easier, then if it goes to 520, I'm going to want to sell. So I'm going to ask the question, is current greater than 520? Oh, if it is, then I'm going to need to make that sale. And then I'm going to have to do that again. Okay, so now we're at 520. And I'm going to have to do 4% on top of that again. I'm going to have to ask that question over and over again. Oh, how about this? Was it greater than 541? And until it says no, it's going to keep on making the trades. And then it would check the buys in the same way. And then after it's all said and done, it would check what the closing price is, what you owed, and if you need to. Because there's going to be situations where, say in a particular day, you log in at, say, 4 in the afternoon, next day 4 again, and you see that you had maybe 2 buy orders hit and 3 sell orders hit. So you have to fix that problem. But that's going to be really easy to do within such. So that's what I'm going to do for that. And then just see which does better, playing on the short-term or long-term results. I'd probably do more like maybe 3,000. Let's just see what this one does. And in here we got 420, 140, 0.06, big loss there, 0.72, 326. And you want to have them because how many markets lose like 6x? This is a 6x loss at 0.17. 450, that's a big gain. I mean, that's what markets end up doing. So I want to see overall how different net results will come into play. So now for the next spreadsheet, I would do the same sort of mathematical results, checking everything. But I want to do real results. And this is going to be relatively easy as well, but a little bit of tedious work to get this data. But not that hard because I'd use the same sort of things with a spreadsheet. And what I would do is I got some recent documents in here where this is like XLM that I downloaded on November the 8th. So now what I got on here is I have data from 2014. So what I would do is I would have something, I would write something like, say, hi, do this X move, or do this, and then I would start with 1, and then I would go like this and equals, and then I would just equal what the high price is in here. And because of copy and paste, I would do something like format cells, put this into 8 decimals. Just so I can see it. There we go. And then this is equals this plus 1. Let's copy this here. It's not where I wanted to copy it to. And let's copy both of these down below. I'm not going to do this now. I'm just showing you how I'm doing it. And then I could just copy and paste this as I will. And this is an example here. Now what I do is I can copy this. I can paste this into Notepad. Edit, select all, and copy. And then when I go into this program, I just paste it in here, and now it's got the data. And I can work it from there. So then I can keep on asking the questions. Now what I would do within this spreadsheet is, again, I would do the same things where I ask the user what you want to do, what percentage moves you want to make, and then even a little bit more advanced, which is relatively easy mathematically. So say, for example, you want to see how a 5% moves, but I want to put a 5% order and maybe a 20% order, just in case, for a good play. And then I can see, and then how about the buyback? Maybe I want to buy for 10% higher, but buy back at an 8% reduction or 12% reduction. And then I can see mathematically which is better. So within the next week or so even, I'm going to be looking into doing both of these spreadsheets. I'm just going to delete this because this is a different one, but just showing how it would be done. So how you would calculate it in it. So you need to, and I'm just going to use a, for the flowchart purposes, the chalkboard. And the first thing that we're going to need, as we see, you put the data in, it's ready to go. So you ask the questions, which would be mainly the percentage moves. And then you just mathematically do your mathematical things. Okay, like gain is this, loss is this. And then you just jump right into the formula. So now you have to recognize, okay, we'll do the loop. For the loop is 1 to how many. I think you manually see, okay, I'm doing dash. I got 1,250 periods. I'll just manually type in 1 to 1250. And then from there, you got to check each day. So now you got to do the check question. So you check for sell orders, and then you do the math. Check for buy orders, then you do the math. Then you check the close, and I won't write that one in. So after that is concerned, we would just keep on moving it over. So now we'd have to do, how are we going to do the display? What kind of things do we have to calculate within something like this? You need to calculate what your net bitcoins would be as far as the profit's concerned. Average buy, you'd want to figure out average sell. So you would need to have data for net buys, net sells. So I need to have a name for something like total buys, total buy Bitcoin, meaning I've bought 1 million of this coin for this much. I've sold so much, so I need those 4 different points there, and that can also help out within the statistics. But just really so I can quickly get the key number, it's going to be like net result of it is always going to be Bitcoins, net Bitcoins, subtract 1. It's always going to be that, because every time a sell comes in, you're going to receive Bitcoin in your portfolio, and every time you buy it, you're pay for it. So you know after X amount of time, if you're playing where one is worth 1 Bitcoin, then if you've received, say, if you sold 4.8 worth, and you've paid, say, 3, that means you've received 1.8. You would have 1 Bitcoin worth of your alt, so you'd have like 2.8. You'd be up. And well, anyway, you just want to see mathematically. So I'm going to show the results and actually the program later on throughout the week. I don't even know if I'm going to do much on it today or not. It is an NFL football day, but I mean, it can take 20 or 30 minutes, and I get bored of that as well. Thank you for tuning in to today's video, and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.